This is the Coming Home Podcast with John Allen.
What?
I'm just looking at you. Anyway, and welcome everybody. Welcome everybody to this episode of the Coming Home Podcast with John Allen. I'm your host, John Allen, and I will present my illustrious but strange guest in just a couple of minutes. Before we get to that, though, I'd like to tell you all that if you look in the description of this episode, whether you're watching it on YouTube or listening to it on a podcast platform, look in the description of this episode. You'll see a few links that you can click on where you can contribute, support what I do and the work that I do here on the Coming Home Podcast with John Allen. Your support and your donations, whether they are monetary, spiritual, or otherwise, are greatly appreciated. Yeah, so thanks for your support. And here I am sitting with the illustrious Snoopy.
Good morning, everybody.
Can you get your little face onto the mic?
What?
Put your face more into the mic. There you go.
It's into the mic.
Huh?
It's into the mic. Yes.
So what's up, girl?
Not much.
You're getting famous. There was a little bit of a stir that was caused. Now, this is the feedback from just one person.
Okay, let me hear it.
Yeah. Well, we kind of talked about it a little bit. We didn't really get into it. Yeah. But the feedback that I got from someone who watches and listens to the podcast, and they said that they don't like the way I what was the word that they used? The way I talk about you on my podcast in social media. So what are your thoughts on that? The mic is yours.
The way you talk about me. Well, I'm trying to think what to say.
Well, don't do that. You're not supposed to think about it. It's supposed to come from the heart.
I usually don't think, do I? I just say it. And that's the thing. If I've been working in the psychiatric field for over 20 years.
Uh-oh, I'm about to get
and
analyzed.
If I cannot handle your little funny things on this podcast and whatever you put on Facebook, then I'd say I am the one that's going to have a problem. I mean.
Well, my whole thing is the things that I say to you on the podcast, the things
because
that I write,
me.
the things. Well, I've said it before. I tease because I love. I mean, that is an old adage that you can apply to a 12-year-old, an 8-year-old boy who has a crush on the girl sitting in front of him, and he yanks on her ponytail and teases her and stuff. He's only doing that because he's got a crush on her. He's in love with her. He doesn't know how to express it. Now, that's a juvenile assessment of that phrase. But in my case, you could say from the very minute we met, our relationship
you started teasing me right away.
Was based on humor. Yeah.
Oh my goodness! Remember, you were like touching my calves. I was just walking by. I didn't hardly know who you were. Remember that?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I squeezed your cat. No, because I couldn't believe. Okay, everybody. Now, all you guys see is her hands and maybe the little rim of her little cap that she has on in her hands and stuff. So she's not filmed on the video version of this podcast because she has reasons for wanting to stay out of the camera. Not because of how she looks. She's quite beautiful. She looks quite exotic, with the Norwegian cheekbones and all that stuff. But she has quite I'll call it an interesting figure. And now I have a background as a bodybuilder. I'm currently a power lifter, and I'm jealous of this woman who weighs 1/3 of what I weigh. I'm jealous of her calves. She's got the most muscular, well-formed calves I've ever seen. And we were going out on our very first date, as a matter of fact, and she was getting ready. She was on vacation in the States, and we were at a mutual friend's house, and Snoopy was getting ready, and she went walking past. I'm like, I gotta see these lumps under her jeans. Is that her jeans or is that her calves? So I gave it a little squeeze, and I confirmed those were muscular calves.
Yep. Well,
No, so humor is a big part of. I think it's a big part of any relationship. It's definitely a part of ours. You know, I'm a stand-up comedian, and when I write my comedy, very much of what I write is based on you and my experiences and my handlings with you. So there's a lot to tease, and it's all done in fun. I mean, do people really think you're some kind of oppressed woman who's going to sit here and just take it? And I put that in air quotes, just take it and let me make fun of you, and it's suppressing you, or it's...
I think if you ask anyone who knows me, especially my colleagues maybe, they'll just be a big question mark if they heard that statement of whoever said that I'm oppressed or whatever that is mean. Because they know me, or not all of them, but those who know me know that...
You know how to speak up for yourself.
Yeah. And they know that I can handle being messed with a little bit, and my goodness, I mess with people, and I have this strange humor, I guess.
You have very strange humor.
Yeah.
It took me a long time, and in fact, still today, to this very day, after 20 years, which you can say things with this dryness, and I just don't see the humor in it until. Afterwards, or until you explain it, and people think, "Oh my gosh, she's
so
mad.
mean.
Yeah.
She's so mean. Oh my gosh!" And I'm because.
Well, you are, but
No, I'm not really mean. It's just that I keep a straight face when I joke, and people they get so unsure. They don't know what to do. I guess I don't really mean to. It just happens.
It's not whether you mean to or not. That's just your style of humor.
Yeah. So.
Look. Everybody has different kinds of humor. Every stand-up comic has a different way of expressing that humor. Every couple, whether you're married or just living together, or just boyfriend, girlfriend, dating, every couple has their own internal humor, that forms part of their relationship. So I just thought it was interesting that this person took it so seriously. The things that I say to you or say about you and stuff, that they actually thought it was, my impression was that they thought it was in some sort of suppressive manner.
Maybe they need to take a better look at themselves.
Well, that's what I'm thinking. I think that's a bit of projection, actually.
Yeah, that's probably what.
There's a lot of other things that this person said, and I think 99.9% of what was said in that conversation, because this was a conversation I had. This wasn't some sort of written exchange. This was a verbal conversation. Okay. And I think 99.9% of it was projection.
Right.
It's things that but isn't that a psychological factor, you who works in that field? That is what a lot of people do. If you haven't, for whatever reason, if you haven't been able to fix yourself, if you haven't been able to deal with your own problem, you will point out that exact same problem that you perceive exists in others.
Right.
Isn't that what projection is?
Mm-hmm.
You guys probably have a different name for it in Norwegian, Farfenglafenuken or something like that, but projection is...
It is, yeah. That happens quite often. So, I
do know how to speak Norwegian, people, by the way. I'm just teasing her. See, I tease. Why? Because I love, period. Yeah. Little Mike Myers there.
Mike Myers?
Of course you don't know who that is.
No. I just have to have a little bit of breakfast here.
Yeah, what do you eat? Tell people what you're eating and how you're eating it, because it's really disgusting.
No, it's not.
I'm sorry, it's disgusting.
Let me try and show it in the
camera. Do you guys see that? That is a black piece of bread.
It's homemade.
With some weird kind, it looks like brains, but it's some sort of jam or marmalade or something.
Marmelade. Appelsinmarmelade.
Yeah, marmelade. I got your marmelade right here. And she's taking that concoction and dipping it into an otherwise good and tasty cappuccino. Mm-hmm. And then she's eating it.
The Italian way. No, it's the Italian way.
But what country are we in? For God's sakes.
Yeah, but
that's why you do these things. You're confused. You don't know where you are.
I love Italy. And their food there, oh my gosh.
I bet it's good.
That is the best.
Do you know when we came here?
Italy.
When you dragged me over here I met you on a Saturday, and I woke up in Norway on the following Sunday. But when we came here, one of the things that I said, both to my friends and family back home, I said it to you, I said it to people that I was meeting here. I said, it's going to be so good to be here because I will have so easy access to traveling within Europe, and I haven't been anywhere.
I know, because I don't know.
I haven't been anywhere.
I have.
I've been to Sweden.
Yeah.
Because we
and through Finland.
Because when we drive up to our place up north, we it's a little bit of a shortcut somewhat, or an easier drive if we cut into Sweden and then go up and then dip back into Norway. I've driven through parts of Finland on that trip. I've been to Denmark for work.
Oh yeah.
One time. But other than that, I haven't been. I have not traveled anywhere. Now, part of that, there's a couple of reasons for that. Part of that is because there's been so much to experience here in Norway. I still get chills on the back of my neck, up and down my arms when I think of our trips that we've taken, like going out west to Bergen and just exploring Norway in the car. As you know, and as I've said several times on the podcast, I love road trips like that. So when I can have experiences like that, that satisfies my need to explore and to travel. Like I say, I think there's so much new, even now after 20 years, there's so many new things I have yet to experience here in Norway. So that satisfies my travel. But there's also this, and I'm sorry, people, I mean, I'm not sorry. Because I know people are going to comment this. I'm going to get emails and comments and stuff. But there is a lot. I mean, you have racism, ultra racism in the U.S., but you've got this weird, sneaky, creepy, disturbing, and confusing type of racism in Europe. You have, if you go back, what was that, around 2014, 2015, when there was a huge migration of people coming from North Africa and then going by boat to Italy and to Greece. And they were forming gangs, like people who deputized themselves. And they're roaming the streets on these Greek islands and in southern Italy, and going around and just beating the living daylights out of men, women, and children who had immigrated, as refugees from Africa. And I didn't really hear too much about that. There was no reaction of outrage. These people were pretty much taking on all things Nazi and replicating that in their campaign against these Africans who had come into Europe. What do you say, Snoopy?
Yeah, excuse me. But
as you stuff your face with that slop.
Oh gosh.
Is it good, really? Is that really good?
It's very good.
Is it really?
Well, my bread could have been a little bit better.
Yeah, that's homemade bread.
Yeah.
Actually, you make very good homemade bread. That one turned out a little different. I don't know. Was that a new recipe or something?
No, I used too big of form. You know that thing you put the dough in? What do you call it? Form?
Oh, the bread pan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was too big, so the bread got too flat.
Okay, is that what it is? Yeah. Okay. Now, anyway, what do you say about this strange race? Because I can remember I asked you when we came here, hey Snoop, what's the racial makeup of Norway? Are there any black people there? Is there any racism? Oh no, there's nothing, you said.
And I haven't noticed any racism when I'm traveling in Europe either.
Well, of course you haven't.
Of course not.
But why? Why is? I mean, to me, it's quite easy to explain. See, I can't get mad at white. Well, white Americans should know better because it's so ingrained in American history. But white Europeans, I can't get angry or upset with them if they are not conscious of the realities of racism, because it's a different history. And if you live your white European life, maybe not so much now in Norway, but just a few years ago, 10 years ago in Norway, it was not unusual for a white ethnic Norwegian to have pretty much no contact with people of color.
Uh-huh. Yep.
And that was your situation.
No, not
Not
really.
really?
Not really. No. Mm-mm. But
So it's explainable why you said that there was no racism in Norway, why you felt that there was no racism.
yeah, but there was, I had one of my friends was a refugee from Somalia.
How do you know he was from Somalia?
She
Was it she?
said so.
And the forehead?
I don't know anything about that.
Oh,
I don't remember that.
Inside joke. Anyway.
So she never said anything. I had another friend from
What do you mean she never said anything?
about racism.
No?
And I had another friend. I don't remember where she was from. She was the Ivory Coast. Very nice lady.
The Ivory Coast. But isn't it such that if you are a black, especially a black man, as long as you stay within that little box that some Norwegians on the right have made for you, you're a black immigrant here in Norway, this is what we expect of you. As long as you stay within that confine, they don't have a problem with you. But the minute you stick your head up, and you do something different, you do something outside of that norm, and you kind of rise above the expectations, that's when the criticism comes, and that's when the racism shows its ugly head.
I think it's a couple of things there. It's called jealousy, and if you're black,
Amen.
It's jealousy and racism.
Jealousy and racism is
right.
an ugly combination.
Yeah. Because I think that if you, I'm not talking about the cities. If you move out in the country, the countryside,
as we lived up north.
Right.
Yeah.
Depending on where you live, and probably also depending on how you present yourself or whatever. But if you kind of raise up and you have success in whatever and voice your opinion, and people see that, oh wow, they came here right away and right away they know this, that, and the other. That's not right.
But see, but again, it's very location. It's very location dependent because where we have our place up on Ceylon, those people are beautiful. I was just talking about. I was just talking about those people to any of you who are listening right now. Any of our good friends and family up on Ceylon, I love you guys. I have always been so. The welcome that they've given me has always been so warm, and this charming curiosity that they've had. You can't beat it. But then there's other places where we've lived where I kind of came on the scene doing what I was doing, whether it was in business or entertainment or whatever, and they didn't like it.
No, but first of all, because you did well, and then people got jealous. But on top of that, you were black.
Yeah.
So then
and there's that combination.
Then the racism kicks in right away. Now, if you would have not stuck your nose out, so to speak,
If I'd have been scrubbing floors.
Well, if you would
in a
just
business, if I'd have been quiet, doing some sort of manual 9 to 5.
Right, they wouldn't have said much. Right. Yeah. So it's that's what I think anyway. But then I don't know. It's interesting how different things are from whatever place you are at.
It's very location dependent.
And it is we have a very long country. The country is very long. If you turn Norway upside down,
what is it, like 1,500 kilometers?
No, if you turn it upside down, the north of Norway will reach down to the south of Italy.
Yeah, isn't it like 1,500 kilometers?
I don't know.
I think so.
Yeah.
Keep talking. I'm going to look that up.
2,000
maybe.
I think, yeah. And and if you think about what is between Norway and south of Italy, a lot of cultures, right?
Yes.
And you kind of get that in Norway. Not like a totally different culture, but in this valley, this is how they do it. But in the next valley,
they do
cultures.
It different. It's very. You can just drive sometimes just down the street, not even 5 kilometers, and you've got a different dialect.
Oh yeah, the dialects are totally different.
But with that comes certain ways of thinking, certain social customs and stuff. So
Right.
it can be quite different from one valley to the next
You mentioned
because of geographical isolation.
You mentioned where our home is, på Thailand, and that's a society where people were dependent on each other in order to survive.
Yeah.
Throughout, it's an island. You couldn't always.
Let me just jump in here. 2,363
Right.
kilometers from Nordkapp to Lindesnes.
Yeah.
Lindesnes, sorry.
So anyway, if it was stormy weather, you couldn't get to the store. You had to. Of course, there was no cars back then or a road, and the men was out fishing, so it was mostly women and children.
Can you hand me that writing pad right there, the big one, and that pencil, the orange pencil?
So anyway, so that society there is very dependent on each other, and you can still see that when you get up there. That you can my gosh, this summer, Knut, he helped me. He was there for like 2 days helping me, and I wanted
the kind of neighborly.
And it's like, oh my gosh, can you? What I can. You need to get paid for this? No, nothing. And it's like, what can I do back?
Well, it's just a great little society up there, and you've got that kind of warmth and that welcoming feeling throughout Norway. But then again, that can also lead to that isolation can lead to tribalism, and then if you have racist thoughts, if you follow a racist ideology, it can just be magnified because everybody around you agrees with you. Mm-hmm. There's nobody telling you you're a jackass for believing that. You just get those ridiculous racist thoughts reinforced.
Yeah, but if you say something, you get frozen out.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, everybody is singular in their thinking, and then if you step outside of that, then you're the one that's going to be ostracized.
And look at the place we lived. I stuck outside because I raised my hand, and when we had that meeting at the county, where like the all the healthcare workers and
child welfare services and whatnot.
No, everybody kind of, and the top politicians in the county was, and they had like this thing. Yeah, we were going to do a research in the county, and then they had all these questions, and one of the questions, and they were about to jump right over that. Yeah. Racism. We don't have any of that, do we? So we just move on. And I said, stop. Mm-hmm. Don't you have any racism? And then I went down the line because nobody knew I was married to a black guy, and nobody knew that I was a Laplander. Yeah. And there was racism towards both of those type of or whatever. Yeah. So, anyway, so back to Italy.
Back to Italy. I haven't been there yet. No.
So anyway, in when I was in Italy, I had a couple of friends, very nice ladies from Peru. And this
were they there legally, by the way?
No. Not to begin with. So that's why they were exploited. By.
They were basically slaves. They were basically modern slaves from the stories you've told me.
Yes, because I was there as a nanny.
And that's what they were supposed to be originally. That's what
But
they ended up having to pretty much getting all kinds of other work thrown on them.
They had to do everything. Yeah. And this lady that I was more together with, she was a nanny with the sister of the lady I was a nanny at. So I had to, watch the baby and iron some clothes, and that was pretty much it.
You were what, in your early 20s?
Yeah. And then and she had to get up in the morning, get the babies ready, make the breakfast, do the laundry, iron the clothes, make lunch, and then dinner, and she had like 2 hours off.
Now, you weren't treated the best, but they treated you much better than they treated those girls. Now, do you think that's because they were... Do you think it's because it was more of a power position because they were there illegally, so this family could, in their arrogance, exploit these two ladies?
Yep.
Or do you think it's because they were brown and there was a racism factor?
I don't think it had anything to do with that. It had.
I'd like to talk to those two girls, so I bet you they'd have a different opinion.
They might, but they never said anything like that to me. But because I talked with her about this, I said, "Why do you put up with all this? Why do you're standing in here, it's so hot, you're sweating, and you have to iron like that big pile of clothes and all that." And she said, "Well, I don't have a choice. I'm here illegally."
That sad? Isn't it sad that she was in that position?
Extremely sad.
Now, and for those, I want to just put in something, because there's a lot of people who will right away say, well, they shouldn't have been there illegally. Well, of course not, but people get driven to do those things because... people have to understand how destitute people can be in certain parts of this world. This was at a time in Peru. I'm not too familiar with how things 90s. Are now. Yeah. I'm not familiar with so much about it now, but I know it during those days, people were desperately poor. Mm-hmm. People were desperately poor. You can kind of see a mirroring of that situation. Not kind of, you can see a mirroring of that situation with the current border crisis in the United States, with all of these people coming from, most recently from Haiti and stuff. This is pure desperation. So those two ladies left Peru to go there because that was the best opportunity that they saw for themselves. I'm not sure, but I would imagine a lot of the money, if not all of the money that they made, they sent home to care for their family. That was what was common. That's what is common that women do in situations like that.
Well, yeah, I would. I think they did that. I kept in touch with them for many years after
You did?
Yeah, and they got themselves an apartment in Milan, and they worked hard. And they went to school.
You think they're still there? You probably don't have their phone numbers anymore.
Well, you know what? I think I have her, the one lady's phone number, and I've been trying to get a hold of her, finding her Facebook. I haven't found her, but anyway, the last time I talked with her, she has some very, very high computer education type of thing, and she's married, and I think she's living in Switzerland.
Switzerland, the land of the Switzers.
Yes.
Switzerland.
Yeah. Anyway, so
it's I can only imagine what they went through. But see, that's how human trafficking flourishes. It's a simple thing and it really is simple to exploit these people who are desperate because they're in a situation where no one is going to speak up for them. I mean, we can never have enough non-government organizations, volunteer organizations to help these people because I believe that as much focus as has been put on modern day slavery and human trafficking and exploitation of migrants, I believe we've only scratched the surface because those people are so easy to exploit and take advantage of. They're desperate.
Yeah.
And a desperate person will...
It was the same thing, same situation with the sister of this lady. That was, like my best friend at that time there in Italy. And here I was, I came from Norway. I could just turn back home. And so they said, well, you don't iron these clothes good enough. I said, okay, well, goodbye. And I left.
That's right. That's why you left, because you got tired of them saying that you ironing underwear and socks and stuff like that. Yeah. And you first see, and this is so you've always been Snoopish like this. I could picture you just saying, why in the world are they ironing underwear and socks? I know. And then why would they criticize the way I iron underwear and socks? But yeah, they said a couple times, and then you said, nope, I'm gone.
Yeah. So I packed my bags, said goodbye. I walked out the gate.
Did they ever try to take your passport?
No. Actually, they he had to drive me back to Milan because most of my clothes were in Milan in my apartment because I had my own apartment there with these people. This was at their vacation spot. That's right.
Were they
But they were
sponsoring?
nice.
Were they sponsoring that apartment, or did you pay for it?
No.
That was them.
That was their apartment. So they were nice people, and the family there, they were nice people. There was nothing wrong.
Well, so how did that go then when you left? I mean,
the husband drove me back to Milan.
No, leading up to it. It's not that they just criticized you one time and you left. Was this
I said,
was there any drama in this? You say they were nice people,
said,
but it seems a little odd.
No, they said that, we you can't, if you can't iron better, we're going to have to let you go. And I said, yeah, fine. Let me go. And it was no drama with it, really. So he took me back to Milan, and then I went out home to Norway, worked for a while, and then I went back to Italy to visit my friend there. Mm-hmm. And she was so surprised, and they were too, because I came back visiting.
But see, and there is your safe, secure, somewhat lofty position as a Norwegian citizen.
I got
that
the
you
money.
had you had the means to come and go as you please, whereas these two were trapped.
Right.
And therein lies the economical differences that so many people try to ignore. It's so easy for these people to see what's happening on the news with these Haitians, for example, and say, well, they shouldn't be at the U.S. border anyway. Why are they there? And they're just totally erasing this, not just the recent history of political upheaval, within the last few months of political upheaval in Haiti and yet another earthquake in Haiti. Not just that, but going back decades, going back a couple centuries. And people want to just erase that and just look at the practical side of it from their lofty position of safety and security and say, well, why are they there in the first place? That's illegal. Well, I also have news for people. It's not illegal to be at a border, to cross into another country and seek asylum. That is a human right that has been decided by the United Nations. It's not illegal to do that. So I wish people would I know what it is. It's people on the right. It's racists and political right-wingers who may or may not be racist, who are pushing that narrative that to be at the border is an illegal act. And that's just not true. It's a human right to show up at the border, cross into a country, and then seek asylum. That's a human right. Since when has it not been? Americans, your grandparents, maybe your parents, maybe you, your great-grandparents or your great-great-grandparents, somebody in your family line at one point sought asylum in one fashion or another to come to the United States. How can people forget
Norway,
that?
I think that they say like two-thirds, big chunk anyway, of Norway left and went to the States.
Well, the thing is if you are a Black American or a Native, if you're not a Black American or a Native American, then at some point you or your family were immigrants to the United States.
Yeah. Yep.
Period. Yep. So are you that ignorant? And I'll use the word ignorant. Are you that ignorant as to forget your own family history? And then point at others and put them down and denigrate them and call them criminals.
Yeah,
are you that ignorant?
That's incredible. And I'm thinking, with the people that I saw in when we lived there in the States, how proud the people were of their heritage. If they were from Poland.
But the thing is, and that's fine to be proud of their heritage, but what I find so hypocritical is that they're proud of their heritage, but they will forget the origins of that story.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I mean. So that's strange. But anyway, we were talking about Europe.
Oh yeah. No, but we kind of branched off. But it's
interesting.
To be honest, I have no desire. I don't feel like I'm missing anything.
You are missing a lot. it's beautiful.
I'm sure it is. I know it is. I know it is. But
Right.
I'm trying to remember where it was. Just a couple of days ago, there was a discussion about, a bunch of expats from different countries, not just the United States, but England. And I'm talking about people of color, people of Latin origin or of Black American origin. And they were talking about their experiences when traveling. This is just a couple of days ago. Their experiences when traveling from their host country and then out to different countries in Europe. And I'm a patient man. I don't like conflict. You know that. I don't like violence. But some of the stories that they tell, and I find myself wondering, would I have been able to keep my cool if I was treated like that? I'm talking about Black women going to places like Italy and Cyprus. These are the countries that come up very often. Italy, Cyprus, Greece. And
Greece. Yeah.
Say again?
No, nothing. Yeah, go ahead.
And they're trying to check into a hotel or something, and these Black women will be accused of being prostitutes. What? You know, what is that? Just because they have brown skin, they're Black women, the go-to category that they're placed in is prostitute. Refugee/prostitute.
Right.
Men, automatically it's assumed that there's some sort of a drug dealer, criminal, refugee with criminal intent. These are firsthand stories. It's not like I heard or someone. No, these are people telling their stories in this forum.
I don't know.
And I find it so repulsive.
It's very wrong. Absolutely.
Of course, it's very wrong. And my whole thing is, and I've said this quite often. I've said this a lot before. I have so much empathy, sympathy, and understanding for the situation of immigrants to Norway, especially Black immigrants, because I know what I've been subjected to here in Norway as a brown-skinned immigrant. But I have a background that is a lot more strong in resources to strengthen my self-image and my resolve, right? So that when I'm met with that kind of stuff, I can get through it. I can ignore it, or I can deal with it in a way, and I get over it. But there's other people, other Black and brown immigrants to Norway who have a history of trauma, a history of a broken self-image. And then they get met with that kind of crap, to say the least, the kind of crap I've been met with, but theirs is probably twice as bad just because of their circumstances here in Norway. And I wonder how many people are broken because of that. And the broken father and mother are going to probably raise children who are somewhat broken. So then it becomes a generational thing. And I think it's all because of, I call it social arrogance. People who are so arrogant about their own position and their own status and their nation's way of, I put in air quotes, doing things.
Yeah.
You know, well, take off that hijab. We don't do that here in Norway. Well, you know what? You do that in Norway, because there's a lot of people in Norway now that wear a hijab. So this is now part of Norwegian society. But people don't want to admit that. People look at that as some sort of watering down of Norwegian culture. Well, and their reaction then is to denigrate and come with racism.
I don't know how, I haven't been in Cyprus in what?
At least 20 years since you've had a Black husband, but go ahead.
No.
You said you were there in your late teens was the last time, wasn't it? Or
no, when I was done with ninth grade.
Early teens.
15.
That's right, yeah.
So how many years? Well, you don't need to say how many years ago. It's many, many years ago.
She's old.
Oh, stop.
Night sweats and everything. She's old.
My goodness. You be careful now. So anyway, I haven't been there since then, but I cannot really remember seeing any black people in Cyprus when I was there. It was
Well, the migrant situation, the immigration
Right.
situation was totally different.
it
back
wasn't
then.
it was non-existent,
Right.
And I would think that some of these islands, up until the immigration really started, it was pretty much tourists and from Northern Europe and people from Greece,
Yeah.
and tourists also from south of Europe. So, and I remember, and I would think, without knowing, so I might be totally wrong, but thinking about how it was here in the 70s, we hardly ever saw any black people.
Right.
I would think the situation is probably similar in Greece.
Yeah, but see,
but I don't know.
I think
No,
I know
no,
what
no.
you're getting at.
Yeah,
I
but-
think I know what you're getting at.
Yeah,
But
but so you have to, but it's not an excuse, but it's an explanation.
yeah, but it's a
like if-
really weak explanation for their racist actions. I think what you're getting at is because it's so new. Immigration is so new. It's
No,
so
not only
recent that black and
Not
brown
only
people have
that,
come.
it's
Yeah, but
because-
hold on. Let me just
No,
take
No, you've been talking for a long time. Now it's my turn.
the Coming Home podcast with Snoopy. Sorry,
Yes.
I said this is the wrong
So
title.
anyway, is when fast forward 2015, they have seen black people. There have been black people, I'm sure of, and refugees and,
Okay,
and stuff
yeah.
on those islands.
Yeah.
But here comes boatloads and boatloads of immigrants, and they are more, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, 6 times as many as the people who actually live on this island. And they don't have people to take care of them. They don't have shelter for them. They don't have anything for them.
Yeah, but you're
And
going
I
under the
understand-
assumption that all those refugees want to stay on that one island. We're talking about an entire nation
Of
here.
course, of
Okay,
course.
but see, here's the thing. Here's what I said. You and I were talking about this sitting on the couch the other night about the Haitians that are coming into the United States, and they're just being arbitrarily put on planes and sent back to Haiti, or at least they were for at least a couple of days. I think they've changed the situation now. But I'm thinking about immigrants in general who just get turned away. How many of those people could be quite influential in a positive manner?
Absolutely.
How about, okay, there's 5,000 immigrants on this island. How about having the apparatus put into place to vet those people for however long it takes and sort them out? You might have some people who are maybe one class away from being a doctor, a medical doctor, a physician. You might have people who need maybe just another 3 semesters and they'll be an engineer. Think about what those people could potentially contribute to your society, and then get them into your country. That's what the United States used to do. But because of right-wing rhetoric, racist rhetoric, if you are a refugee on the U.S. border, you are most likely a criminal. That's the narrative that they're putting out there.
Yeah, and that's wrong.
And that is to the detriment of the United States. How many good people are we just turning away at the doorstep?
Yep.
How many? Yeah, I'm starting to babble here because I get so engaged, but
I'm getting.
it's a frustration situation. It's a frustrating.
Do you need help with your language?
It's a frustrating situation.
Frustrating?
No, so those are just a
anyway.
couple of things I wanted to talk about. Let me
Wrap it up.
to wrap it up. What, you got to pee or something?
No, I'm cold.
I'm
and
cold.
my voice is starting to.
My voice is you have spoken a lot.
No. Yeah. Whatever.
Just one
Anyway, but
thing
I
I want.
want to say one more thing.
Oh boy.
My thing about Cyprus. When I was there, there was no crime whatsoever.
Oh.
You know, they have their siesta, couple hours or whatever in the middle of the day.
Yep.
So my friend and I was walking in the streets, and it was in the siesta, and we wanted to. We saw a guldsmed, was a jeweler store, and we want to go in there and look. So we went in there and look, and guess what? All the gold chains, everything was out. There was nobody there. They were home eating or sleeping or whatever. Yeah. But the store was open. Mm-hmm. And that's how it was.
And now these don't come up from Africa, and that's just...
and now they have to lock their doors. And See?
Oh, boy. Yeah, we joke, but you know what? Actually, people use that, the timing of this influx of immigrants and a rise in crime, and then they'll use that as a reason to be against immigration. It's really disgusting. It's really short-sighted, and I don't know of any nation that benefits from that way of thinking. Okay, let's close that chapter.
Yeah, I think
one last thing that I want to address is thank you all for your support. Thank you all for your kind thoughts and encouragement since my last surgery. As you can see, I'm not moving this arm very much at all. The latest step in my series of shoulder surgeries was they detached the long head of my bicep, which attaches up in there, and then they've put it in here. It remains to be seen if the goals of that surgery have been reached, but we will see. I'm hoping that I don't have too many more surgeries. I'm tired, but thank you all for your support. I'm going to be okay. It's going to be a long road to build up my strength and mobility again, but I like challenges. Hopefully soon I'll be able to start training again. Which, by the way, and this is important. Just because I posted that last video talking about what you have to do, or what I do rather, in between surgeries to get back in the shape, on the thumbnail image on YouTube, there's a picture of me sitting at the microphone, and then a picture of me, jacked and posing in front of the camera. People assume that was me, like that day training. No, people, I cannot train. I'm newly operated. I'm freshly operated. I am not training at the moment. So I don't want to spread. Yeah, I can't. I've got to heal. As you can see, I can't. I'm not moving this arm at all because I really can't. So I want to say that because I don't want people to think that something that is unattainable is possible. You can't get the kind of surgery that I had and then start training just a few days afterwards. That image that I put with that video, and again, this was episode 151, the previous episode to this one. That image was the last picture that was taken of me, maybe 2 days before this last surgery. So that is not me training after surgery. I just wanted to clear that up. But thank you all for thinking I'm such a Superman specimen that I could just jump into training right after surgery. So that's it. Anything else?
Training is very important.
Training is very important, and but there's another extreme. There's people who are saying, "Oh my gosh, be careful." No, I'm not going to be careful. I'm going to be smart, because after surgery, the worst thing you can do is stay immobile for too long of a period. You've got to move. Mm-hmm. You've got to stimulate your body. You've got to have blood flow to the injured area, and you've got to start that training process. But don't do it too soon, but for God's sakes, don't wait too long.
Right, and it is to be in, to train, and I'm not talking about being like we do, like a national on national level, but training and staying in kind of in shape. Mm. It is very important the older you get to prevent health problems, to prevent that you have to have a surgery, but also if you are in an accident or whatever, you will get back on your feet so much easier. And it's also a mental thing. If you are used to somewhat pain when you train, then you will and are used to training through some pain, then it will be easier when you have to actually walk and have pain.
I train for growth, and growth is painful, and that pain prepares me for these recovery periods after surgery. That was a big point that I'm not too sure that I focused on during that last video, but it is very important. If you know you have a surgery coming, as I have every time, use that time leading up to that surgery to prepare yourself by getting in the best shape possible. I can't say that often enough. It's so important. As upset as I've gotten, depressed and frustrated, I've always had it in my head that I have to get in it. This is after 7, 8, 9 surgeries. I've always had it in my mind as a focus to get in as good a shape as possible. That doesn't mean top shape, best ever, but in as good a shape as possible. Through evaluation, through coordination with physical therapists and my surgeon. Best shape as possible before each surgery. That's important. It aids dramatically in the recovery.
I've seen this so many times. I saw it with my dad. Remember that? And they were ready after his what number of stroke he had. They were ready to throw him into a nursing home where he was just going to be bedridden.
Yep.
I pushed him and I got him into rehab. And
big difference.
And big, humongous difference. And the only reason they did that, let him get into rehab, is because they knew me, and they knew when I said that he was in shape of doing that, they would.
Yeah.
And because I scared them, of course.
I was going to say.
And then,
it made all the difference in the world.
Big difference. They didn't think he would survive.
Exactly. It put some years on his life, literally.
Right. and with my surgery, when I had my broken neck, all these places, I was told, Anna, you're never going to walk in the mountains again, and you had to sit still for so and so long. And I said, well, and I signed myself out of the hospital, and I started walking, and I was up in that mountain before I took that collar thing off.
Yeah, you still had a neck brace, but you were hiking in the mountains.
Right. Yeah. So
mindset. It has to do with mindset.
Yeah, but also because I was in pretty good shape before the surgery, and that is so important.
Exactly, and that's something that a lot of doctors and surgeons don't take into consideration, is that whole thing about mindset. Doctors and people tell me, well, now you have to take it easy. No, I do not have to take it easy. I'm going to train smart.
Yeah, and I think that's changing.
Well, look at the surgeon I have. She's the
and
Dr. Lundgren. I love you to death. I don't know if you're listening. You're probably chopping up somebody's body right now. But if you're listening, I love you to death. She
understands that.
She has backed me 100% with my with my training and therapy in between surgeries. I don't hear this crap about having to take it easy. She gives me a plan along with a physical therapist, a plan, but that plan, I never hear the words take it easy. It's all about training smart and doing what we know is right. But being inactive, that's not good medicine. No. That is not good medicine. Active recovery.
Yeah. And I talked with my friend at kickboxing the other day. He has, as long as I've known him, since the 80s, he's been training like a maniac. And then he had all these surgeries and brain surgery and so on. And he would never be standing up talking with me if he hadn't had that mindset, first of all.
Yep.
Being able to work through pain, knowing that you have to have a little pain in order to get to get better, and also being in such a good shape to begin with.
Yeah.
So it's so important.
Here's the thing: it's never a bad thing to be in shape, and any physical ailments that you're going to meet in your life, whether you're young or old or in between, it will always be a benefit to be in great shape before that ailment or that injury hits you. So, I'd like to live for a long time. So I need to be in as good a shape as possible.
Yeah. So are we going to have chocolate tonight?
Chocolate pizza, and if I can talk you into it, then you know what I've been craving? Burger King.
Ugh, no.
I know it's horrible food, but I've been craving that salty, greasy.
I'm not driving. Anywhere.
Well, see, that's what it's going to take.
So,
I'm going to have to talk you into drive.
And you can't.
Don't you love me?
Yeah, I love you so much that I'm
So
not going
much
to
that
buy
you
you. Not going to buy you any
Well,
Burger
I
King.
walked into that one.
Yeah.
No Burger King. No, let's wind this up.
I gotta go.
Thank you all so much for your support. Thank you all for watching. If you're watching this on YouTube, if you're listening to this on a podcast platform, thank you for doing that. But no matter where you're hearing this or watching this, look in the comments section, in the description of this episode, and you'll see how you can support the work that I do on the Comin podcast with John Allen. I'm going to give you a little teaser. There's some big...
I want to give them a little teaser.
Oh, that sounds sexy. Say that again. Say that again.
I want to give them a little teaser.
Okay, here we go.
Video killed a radio star.
Oh, gosh.
And that's all I'm going to say. Yeah.
Anyway, there's some big and exciting things that are happening in relation to me and the work that I do in this podcast. So get ready. The time will come relatively soon where I'll be making an announcement. So hang with me. Yes, that is a blatant teaser, but it'll be worth the wait when I put this news out there. It's going to be exciting. And I'm looking forward to it.
It's going to be fun.
It's going to be fun, says Snoopy. Okay, everybody. Thank you. Bye now.
Bye now.